I'm not much into cryptozoology, but I swear I encountered a Sasquatch out in Pisgah. I was on a solo camping trip, hiked about 10 miles out to my camp spot for the night. The hike was as normal as it gets for the most part, but towards sundown I started getting a super uneasy feeling like I was being watched. My brother told me that can happen if a bear has been following you, so I was a bit paranoid while I was setting up camp for the night. I got a camp set up and got a small fire going, but I never shook that feeling the whole night. So I tried to just eat and go to sleep as quickly as possible. Put my pack out on a bear line, and I went to bed trying to brush off that anxiety. I woke up suddenly in the night to the weirdest sound I've ever heard. I've heard bobcats, foxes, but this sounded nothing like any of those. It was super deep and human sounding. My immediate thought was bear. But suddenly I heard the scream again, closer to my tent now. I had no idea what I had just heard. I jolted up in my tent. My heart was beating so fast I could barely hear anything besides the panicked thumping of my own chest. I grabbed my headlamp, took a few quick breaths, and mustered up the courage to look outside my tent. The first thing I noticed was a smell, like wet dog and garbage. It was terrible. I scanned around my campsite with the flashlight until I heard the faintest rustle behind my tent. I whipped around only to see a huge dark shadow about 10 feet from my tent at the tree line. Two reflective eyes locked with mine, and suddenly it hollered right at me. In some sort of fight or flight panic, I yelled right back, but completely frozen in place from fear. The shadow took a few steps closer to me, and I screamed louder than I ever screamed in my life. My voice startled the monster, and I got up and ran away. As I was running, I looked back and saw nothing, but I kept running. Eventually, I got into a cabin, and the family living there was so nice. I told them to call 911 because I just encountered a Sasquatch. We did call the police, but when they got into my campsite, nobody was there. That was the end of my encounter. I hope I never get to see that monster again.
Around 2014, on a cold and rainy Veterans Day, my girlfriend and I were driving on the parkway between the Arboretum and Route 25. It was super dark out, and we were heading north after dinner, having just gotten on at Bent Creek. Right after the bridge over I-26, we saw something strange. A young woman in a red coat, brown pants, and boots just walking toward us. I slowed down because she didn't have a flashlight, a cell phone, or even a purse. She was dressed really well, but it seemed weird for her to be out there like that. As we got closer, she kept walking, sort of away from us and toward the woods. I was going to ask her if she needed help, but she never walked any faster or looked back at us. Then, without any hesitation, she just walked straight into the woods. It was pitch black, cold and rainy, and my girlfriend and I both thought it was strange, but maybe there was some explanation. I figured maybe her car had broken down, and we'd scared her. But the thing was, she never even looked at us. Not once. So I kept driving, thinking we'd find a car broken down somewhere. We drove all the way to Hendersonville Road, but didn't see any cars. I turned around and drove back toward the Arboretum, still nothing. When we came back to the spot where she went into the woods, I pulled over and pointed my headlights in that direction. What we saw freaked us out. There was a straight drop-off of at least 40 feet. There's no way she could have just walked in there. The next day, I couldn't stop thinking about the girl in the red coat, so I went back after work. I parked where she went in and walked about 500 yards down the parkway, then stepped into the woods. I searched all the way back to my car but didn't find any trails or anything. The spot where she walked in was just a large, flat rock covered with leaves. Later that night, my girlfriend, who's a huge skeptic, told me she was really glad that the young woman didn't turn to look at us. I asked her why, and she said she had a feeling that if the girl had looked at us, her face would have looked like a monster or something. I don't know if this is a ghost story, but I swear this is exactly what happened. We still call her the girl in the red coat.
Well, it was October 1996, and my friends and I had heard of some old abandoned meatpacking plant way out in the woods here in North Carolina. There were supposedly satanic rituals, hangings from the KKK, and all kinds of horrible things happening out there, so we were like, let's go. Bad mistake. We hyped ourselves up by listening to the new Antichrist Superstar album by Marilyn Manson that had come out around that time and decided to head down to the place it was suspected to be. We rolled up to a gate in the middle of nowhere and saw a trail just behind it. So we parked and got out and started walking down this dark trail. The moon was full on a clear night shining through the pine trees. My sister and my girlfriend were with me in the back as 3 of my other friends were walking in front. I thought I'd be a jokester and throw an old bottle I saw on the trail way up into the trees in front of everybody just to scare them. It did, and the guys in front pulled their knives out and looked all around scared to death. I busted out laughing and got punched by my girlfriend in the shoulder. We kept walking. The trail kept getting more and more enclosed by brush, bushes, and trees, and a lot darker. We had walked about 1–2 miles into the dark woods. At this time, out of nowhere, we heard something at the time as indescribable. The sound was right in front of us and seemed to be moving towards us. All of us turned and ran as fast as we could, and to this day, I've never ran that fast since. We ran until we met up with each other a few hundred yards back down the trail and asked if everyone was all right. We all were, and all turned back towards the sound we heard, and I swear to God it was chasing us. The trail was so dark at the time we could not see anything, but it damn was chasing us. We ran back to the cats and hauled ass back home. My girlfriend and sister had to sleep with their Bibles open and the lights on and really didn't sleep at all. A week or so later, 2 of my friends said they never heard of it and wanted to go back. And me, being a dumbass, said okay. So me and 3 friends totally went back. The girl was too scared to go when we got there, and I didn't want to leave her alone in the woods in the middle of nowhere, so I stayed with her in the car, while the 2 guys went to the same trail as before. About 2 hours in, the friend with me in the car kept freaking out seeing a person. A figure is walking around the car. I never saw anything. Just when I'm about to start the car to get out of there, the guys finally came back, and my friend inside the car with me said the figure disappeared. The guys then said they never found the plant and never saw a damn thing. I started the car and sped away out of there. Whatever was chasing us that night, it was not human, and I intend to not go back there ever again.
I hope you found these stories as chilling and unsettling as I did. It's a stark reminder that sometimes reality can be stranger and more frightening than fiction. If you enjoyed these tales of suspense, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-chilling content. This is your host, Nicholas Black. Until next time.